Hello, dear ones. This morning I woke up and I saw and I felt humanity's need for healing. And as a starseed, and I know that many of you are as well, fellow starseeds, I would like you to join me in sending out love to all people. And especially now, when a lot of us that are on this side of the earth have lost power, or in other ways have gotten put back a little bit in perspective of life, and life in the way that it throws you some curveballs. And because it throws you the curveballs, you have to roll with those punches. But the main thing I got from my meditation this morning was forgiveness. And I'm writing a book about it. Forgiveness, forgiving the people that haven't awakened yet. And that's a hard one, I know. But it's also necessary. Forgiving, because when you forgive, you let go. You actually give. You're letting go of expectations. And I know that it can be frustrating for many of you starseeds that came down here with so much light and so much love and so much wisdom, because many of you are very, very awake, very, very alive, seeing everything that's going on and getting frustrated. Why aren't you awake? Not you, but I mean, yes, that's what you think. But let me tell you a story about being awake. So I came back to the US in 2004. And I was telling a very good friend about this. I worked at a huge corporation, and we had a male division inside of that corporation. I was in Washington, D.C. And I got to talk to the mailman. And he says, we don't believe in the 9/11 narrative. I said, what do you mean? And we were speaking because he was off duty. He was on his lunch, and I didn't really have much to do that right then. But because I never really saw him as someone that would be, thinking about things like this, because I always saw him sleeping in the back. He would always be, if you got into the mailroom, you would never see him. He would be behind something sleeping, So, so I never saw him as we are being called now, the conspiracy theorists. But what he did was he opened up. He says, we don't believe in that narrative. And when he meant we he's African American. And I think that's why he was telling that to me, because... And I said, what is it that you believe in? He says, we believe it was an inside job. And I remember him saying that and suddenly feeling, that can't be true. That can't be true. Because my narrative was like this. The way I saw everything was that it was a great country, the government, I trusted my government, and why would they want to do something like that? So it ruined my picture of the world. And as you all know, that, of course, I see what is going on a different level than I did then, because I don't think I wanted to see. And it turned around my whole beliefs. I felt, oh my gosh, what can this be true? Can this be true? What I'm hearing right now, that was an inside job. That meant that my whole belief system was turned upside down. And when your belief system is turned upside down, what do? You think, no, this can't be true. This is not true. This is not the way it is. Absolutely not. Who is he to say something like that? What kind of a person is he? But the kind of person he was is that he was seeing it from a different perspective than my own. And I had a hard time grasping it. And for days, I would ask him, what do you mean? He says, well, that's the way we see it. I thank him for telling me this today. Because as soon as he started talking to me about the fact that there's another way of seeing what was going on, I started waking up. I started watching David Icke. I started doing my own research. I started at first I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe that people were thinking that way when my whole life was, or my whole world was turned upside down. But I was diving deep into that. I was diving deep into the rabbit hole. I had to. And many of you starseeds out there are probably seeing the same, probably feeling the same, or have gone through similar experiences where you have your whole narrative, your whole world is turned upside down because of what is happening right now, for example. And can't understand now that you're waking up that the others are not. Well, everybody wakes up in their own time, right? So as a starseed, how can we connect? As you heard the story, how can we connect with each other? How can we reach out? How can we be of service? And I guess the best way to say this is the way that we can be of service is by opening up our hearts and forgiving. Trine, jeg sender kærlighed tilbage til dig også, Trine. How can we be of service? Well, the best way is to forgive, to open our hearts, to connect, to unite. Because right now, our world is topsy-turvy. It is upside down. It is completely in a way that it is topsy-turvy, it's upside down. It is not the way we want it. And many of us are sitting in our homes, and I'm grateful I have heat. I don't have water right now, but I have heat. I'm in Texas. But many of us are grateful to the fact that many of us are grateful to the fact that all of you are helping each other. You know, here in Texas, we are going back to basics. If we have water, we are happy. If we have heat, we are grateful. We're not used to having snow like this, so we are literally learning how to cope with weather that we're not used to having. But that also brings people together. You see, this is a spiritual awakening. This is an awakening to unite. This is an awakening right now that has to do with sending love to each other, seeing how we can help each other. It is and always will be a way to forgive. We need to forgive each other. We need to forgive the other side. And we have to stop taking sides. We have to actually help each other. Now, when I do this and when I open my heart, you guys know that this is the truth that is coming through. It doesn't matter what the other side thinks. It's going to be a rude awakening for many when they start seeing what is going on. But I want you all to understand, we need to lend a helping hand. Our families are not understanding it. You as a starseed do understand what's going on. And when you understand what's going on, you can put small seeds. You can maybe break it easily to someone and then step back. Because yes, it is not easy to be the one that is awake and that can see, and everybody else is asleep. Now, not everybody's asleep, people are waking up, but it's a rude awakening once you feel that the way that you saw the world, what you believed in, and again, remember the word believe, in the word believe you have the word lie, but what you believed in is false. How do we react to that? Well, we get angry. We instead of embracing the truth, we attack because no, that cannot be. That's a normal human way of experiencing it. But right now we're talking about a spiritual awakening. So many of you that are here understand that what we are going through is of course unprecedented, but it has to be. We have to go through this. It's almost like we are going through a valley of darkness and we see the light. And then we have to bring the world that is only in the darkness out of that darkness by speaking the truth with compassion, my dears, with compassion. We need to have compassion when we speak to the people that do not believe, that cannot see, that haven't opened their eyes yet, or their hearts. This is very big. This is about opening our hearts as well. And you as a starseed came down with a different frequency. You came down into this planet, onto this planet, into your bodies. You look like you are everyone else, but you're not. You have a mission, and your mission is here to open people's hearts by opening yours. And when you open your heart, you affect people on many, many levels. Okay? So all of you that are here, reach out to that neighbor. Accept and embrace them for where they are. But reach out to that family member in love. Okay? Because that's the only way we're going to help each other. Because we need to unite. That family member or that neighbor or that friend that doesn't see things the way you do is still that person that you like. It's still that person. But that person is just not awake yet, or does not want to be awake, or cannot even imagine what it is you're talking about. With compassion. I think it was the Buddha that said, the Buddha was asked what he's going to do with the sadness or the people are going on starving. How is he going to help the people that starve? Or how is he going to help people that are having a very, very hard time? And I don't remember it as a quote, I just remember it as a meaning. It meant that what he was saying was, send your love, send your grace, have compassion, and walk through it. Don't go down to the level, but walk through it and help them that way. Okay? Because when you help through compassion and through love, you help the people that are having a hard time understanding what's going on in this planet, right? And many of you that are starseeds are frustrated over this. But understand that, just like Jesus said, they don't know better yet. So if you can, with your love, unite, in other words, reach out, help them. Don't expect them to change right away, because they won't. But open up for their journey and be there and support them in their journey. So this morning I got up and I was in my meditation and in my download and in my channeling session that I'm doing right now. I'm just channeling what the universe wants me to tell you guys. I was told to get on this call right away, or on this live right away, because it's 5 a.m. here. Because a lot of you are feeling there's a lot of resistance going on, there's a lot of frustration going on, there's a lot of hurt, but there's also a lot of optimism. And this is the great awakening, but it is an awakening in the way that we are waking up to the divinity and the in the Swedish way, the gudomliga som är oss. The divine goes through us, yes. And if you feel stressed, and if you feel that you have it's a hard burden to have, understand that you came here because you are ready for this job. This is the most difficult job to have, is to be awake and to walk around amongst people that are sleeping and to see them hurting themselves. Maybe by having to take that vaccine, or feeling that they need to, because that's what is expected. That's how we get out of this pain and misery. No, this is not how we get out of this pain and misery. I'm not a doctor, but my guides are telling me, stay away from that one. Okay? Your body is divine. Your body can heal yourself. The most important thing is to understand your sovereignty. Nobody can control what you do and how you think and how you live outside of yourself. And we are now in these times learning how we are being pushed in different directions that are not, it just feels like it has no common sense. And as a good person, or a person that is awake, yes, and as a person that is awake, you are looking at your empowerment, and you're looking at the way that we need to take this deep breath, go inside ourselves, find the peace, find the love for this process, because this is what it is. It's a process. You see, many people talk about it being biblical, what we are seeing, and many of you have read the Revelation. or many of you have heard of the revelation. I'm one of the people that I'm connected to the above, so I know on so many levels what's happening. I have not read the revelations, but the more I see people talking about it, the more I understand that we're on the same page, even though I haven't turned those pages. But I'm getting a little bit curious about it, because if we are connecting, if all of this is playing out in the spiritual realm, which it is, and it's going down to the physical realm and the cosmic, and all together we are connecting. We are opening up. We are opening up to our divinity. We are opening up to the fact that we are not separate. I'm not separate from you. You're not separate from me. In the non-physical, we are one. We are all that is. So if you look at a person that is asleep, it's part of ourselves as well. Because we are one, we're not separate. So I don't want to hurt myself. And because I don't want to hurt myself, I don't want to hurt you either. If we can look at it from that perspective, and you see the forgiveness, I'm going back to the forgiveness, has to do with freeing ourselves and sending love and compassion to everyone's path. Allowing everyone their own way of awakening. And yes, sometimes that can be frustrating when you know the truth and you've been awake for a long time, just like I have. But again, we didn't come here. We came here with our light, shining light. If we need to do something physically, if we need to go and join a group to help, yes, if we need to join a group to help awaken the masses, let's do it with love. Let's open up our hearts, because that is how we get the best results. When we do everything with our hearts, we can awaken a lot of people, or at least make people feel comfortable in their awakening process. Because as you know, that's not an easy thing. To go from, like I was telling you before, when I found out about the 9/11, the truth about it, I was in shock for a while, because I couldn't believe that that could be the truth. But that is the truth, and that was hard for me to fathom. I could not. It took me a while to turn my worldview around. You see, your worldview changes when you experience something like this. And look at the world. We have been in trauma since March of last year, in big state of trauma, literally. That pandemic that was happening there, we thought was real. Many of us did, because we didn't know what to believe. We've gone past that. Well, many of us have gone past that. But can you imagine if you're still sitting in 100% fear, and then you see what happens to your government, that whole circus there, which is not really happening, but it is, because it's on the TV, so it must be true. I'm saying with a joke. So first you have the pandemic, then you have this faux government, and now for many of you, you're in this situation where you're having cold. For us, we didn't have electricity for a while, so we couldn't cook anything, and the temperatures were freezing here in Texas. Now, grateful I have heater, but one thing on leading on to another thing, onto another thing, to another thing. We are becoming very resilient. And where do we go when we feel stressed? We have to go within, and we have to connect. We have to connect with all that is, that has always been us. We are, you are. I am all that is. I am that I am. And then we have to bring that out to the rest of the world. Right? Bring that love out to the rest of the world, because what else can we do right now? But through healing ourselves, through having compassion for ourselves as well, we unite with others as well, because then they feel it is safe. It is safe right now. Right now, a lot of people are not feeling it's safe. Right now, a lot of people are without heat, without electricity, without water. Some are without food. We're getting a taste of that in this country right now. That will wake you up to what is really necessary, right? That will wake you up to have compassion. That will stop you in your tracks. This pandemic stopped us in our tracks. These lies that are going on are stopping us in our tracks, thinking, wait a minute, can this be true? Can this be happening in front of our eyes? Yes. But the greatest gift is that we are waking up. And I know a lot of you are saying, okay, I'm tired of this whole thing. I want it to be over, including myself. But it's not over. We are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Light has won, we already know that. But how is it going to play out? You see. Just take a deep breath. And right now in this moment, everything is perfect. You are breathing. You are seeing. You are feeling. In this moment, everything is as it should be. You are divinely guided, and you are loved. That, my dear, is all that I wanted to say today. Just understand that staying in this higher frequency will help you throughout the day. With much love.